Here is the NFL Iceberg. Bills 4 Super Bowl losses. The Buffalo Bills were one of the best NFL franchises back in the early 90s. They are still to this day the only team in NFL history to make it to the Super Bowl 4 consecutive seasons in a row. Unfortunately, they are also the only team in NFL history to lose 4 consecutive Super Bowls in a row. Despite being crowned AFC champions on 4 consecutive seasons, they would lose every Super Bowl appearance from that time period, losing Super Bowl 25 to the New York Giants 20-19. You blew it! Losing Super Bowl 26 to the Washington Redskins 37-24. You blew it! And losing both Super Bowls 27 and 28 to the Dallas Cowboys 52-17 and 30-13 respectively. You blew it! You blew it! You blew it! Also, unfortunately, these are the only Super Bowl appearances that the Buffalo Bills have ever had, making these instances the closest they've ever gotten to being world champions, coming up short each time. It is an incredible feat, but one I'm sure that Bills fans weren't hoping to have to their name. The Super Bowl 47 blackout. Blackout in the middle of the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl 47 blackout happened on February 3rd, 2013 in a matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers. With 13 minutes and 22 seconds to go in the third quarter, the Ravens had built themselves a pretty strong lead of 28-6, when suddenly, the lights at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome went out, and it had been reported that they were suffering a power outage that was caused by equipment failure.
Half the power in New Orleans Stadium, the Superdome here, is out.
This would see a 34-minute delay in the game, as the stadium crew attempted to get the power back on. This has also led to the Super Bowl being given the nickname the Blackout Bowl. What's interesting is as soon as the power was brought back, the 49ers were able to mount a pretty serious comeback, cutting the deficit to 28-23 by the end of the third quarter. The Ravens would hold on to win the game 34-31, however the game was made significantly closer after the blackout had happened. This has led to some conspiracy theories from fans that the NFL intentionally made the power go out in order to give the 49ers offense a chance to regroup, an offense that had been dormant the entire first half of the game. People who subscribe to this theory argue that the NFL would want the game to be more competitive as opposed to a blowout in order to maximize ratings for the game. One subscriber to this theory is none other than Hall of Fame Ravens linebacker Ray Lewis himself. He stated in an interview, "You're a zillion-dollar company and your lights go out? No way." What's funny about this is that 49ers CEO Jed York actually responded to the claim on Twitter, stating, "There is no conspiracy, I pulled the plug," which is hilarious. But yeah, I don't think there's any real conspiracy here, just a fun technical malfunction that was something to talk about for a little while. 73-0. 73-0 is the largest blowout in NFL history. It's not necessarily a unique score, as all throughout NFL history, there have been some 50-0 scores and even some 60-0 scores. What makes this score especially unique, aside from it being the largest blowout on record, is that it actually came from an NFL championship game. On December 20th, 1940, the Chicago Bears absolutely blew out the Washington Redskins 73-0 in the NFL championship game. To this day, no other team has been able to score more than 73 points in a game. What's funny is that Washington had actually beat Chicago 3 weeks earlier, ironically in a very low-scoring game of only 7-3. It's just interesting to think that a championship game that was supposed to pin the 2 best teams of their respective conferences led to the largest blowout in the league's history. Namath's Guarantee. This is in reference to one of the earliest Super Bowls, Super Bowl III. Funnily enough, this was the first ever Super Bowl to officially adopt the name Super Bowl. The game was played on January 12, 1969, between the AFL's champion, the New York Jets, and the NFL's champion, the Baltimore Colts. You see, back then, the NFL officially was a lot smaller than the league we know it today. They found themselves competing with other rival football leagues, most notably the AFL, or American Football League. The modern era of the NFL really didn't begin to form until the NFL officially merged with the AFL, absorbing all of their teams and creating the one league that we know today. So before then, the Super Bowl was thought originally to be in concept as a world championship game between the 2 separate league champions, which I know is funny that they call it the World Championship game despite every team being American. But while the official merge was still a season away, many treated the NFL team as always being superior to the AFL team. Many thought the AFL teams really couldn't compete against them. Super Bowls 1 and 2 backed this up, with the NFL's champion Green Bay Packers blowing out the AFL's Kansas City Chiefs and Oakland Raiders 35-10 and 33-14 respectively. So everybody thought this game was going to be no different. The Colts were 19-point favorites in this game. However, that did not stop Jets quarterback Joe Namath from guaranteeing a Jets victory. He would state this in an interview a few days prior to the game, and lo and behold, the Jets would defeat the Colts 16-7, and the AFL would win its first ever Super Bowl victory, which became essential in ensuring the two leagues would officially merge, as the Jets proved the AFL teams could be on equal playing field with the NFL teams. This game is regarded as one of the greatest upsets in NFL history and is made even more famous from Namath guaranteeing that it would happen a few days prior. Dez Bryant's no catch. There are a lot of controversies when it comes to calling a completed catch in the NFL. There are plenty of examples, but I focused them onto this one specifically. On January 11th, 2015, an NFC divisional round of the playoffs was played by the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay was up 26-21, but the Cowboys were driving with around 3 minutes left to go in the game. The Packers held them to a 4th down, and it was time to make a play. Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo threw a deep ball, and it was seemingly caught by wide receiver Dez Bryant, who then reached over the goal line to try and score a touchdown. He hit the ground, and the ball came out at the end. For a moment, it looked like he had scored a touchdown, but the official ruled that he caught it and was down at the 1-yard line, setting up a 1st and goal for Dallas and a perfect opportunity to win the game. However, the officials would review the play and later determine that despite appearing to have caught the ball, Dez Bryant never had full control of the ball, and therefore, when he lost it after going to the ground, he never completed the catch, making it an incomplete pass and a turnover on downs instead of a 1st and goal. Sure enough, the Packers would close out the game and win in a 26-21 final. This opened up the controversy in the NFL as to what is a catch. The argument being that if you secure the ball, it would be a completed catch, and if you lose the ball after the fact, then it is a catch and a fumble. But the NFL seems to struggle with identifying catch fumbles with incomplete passes. The rule states that in order to complete a catch, you have to secure control of the ball prior to the ball touching the ground, in bounds, and then perform any act common to the game. Examples are tucking the ball away, extending it forward, taking an additional step, turning upfield, or avoiding or warding off an opponent. A similar play happened a few years later. Down 27-24 with 28 seconds left, Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger threw a pass to Jesse James, who seemingly caught the ball and reached for the goal line in what was initially ruled a touchdown against the Patriots in Week 15. However, for the same confusing reason, extending the arm did not count as completing the catch, and it was ruled incomplete.
Not a catch.
What makes this dumb rule even more frustrating is that later on that same season, in Super Bowl 52, another seemingly similar play happened when Eagles quarterback Nick Foles threw a touchdown pass to Zach Ertz. He was seen losing the ball after the play the same way the two others had, and yet it was still ruled a touchdown, solidifying that the NFL is just making it up as they go. So yeah, Dez's no catch just solidifies how nobody in the NFL knows what a catch is. Fake crowd noise. This is actually a rule in the NFL in which teams are not allowed to pump in their own fake crowd noise. All the noise has to be generated from their own real-life fans, which can be difficult if your team doesn't really have fans. One team has gotten caught using fake crowd noise in order to generate a loud environment: the 2016 Atlanta Falcons. Man, the Falcons can't catch a break, can they? They would be fined $350,000, as well as have their 5th round draft pick taken away. You may already know that the NFL, of course, did later allow the use of fake crowd noise during the 2020 season, when attendance was typically only allowed to be 10-20%. But yeah, other than that, there's not much else to this one. Just know that to this day, teams are still not allowed to do this.